So I don't know. Okay, what's going on? I am having some difficulties. But anyway, it's all good. So welcome to Wednesdays with Tribute More. This is our channel where I travel to simply glow, and also where I am writing our GTTs. So GTTs, even if it is not know, is short for glow ticket topics. And hi, welcome. I'm glad that y'all are here. And so I know sometimes my ladies, myself, it's difficult to find time to hydrate, to actually make sure that that season, the era that you in, to actually make sure that everything is cool. It's difficult. It's difficult to carve out that time. I get it. I've been there, I've done that. But I'm going to speak on how that type of habit really does help you. I've been seeing it kind of sort of quite a bit online, especially YouTube. But I have not really discussed my own personal experience yet. So I'm going to make sure that I kind of sort of add to whatever that type of persona is so that you all can kind of sort of keep that in your flow. So you have issue myself where parental figures and being an entrepreneur and businesswoman and a mother and then having just a jack of all trades and a woman of many hats. Okay, I have no hold Mondays. No hold Mondays was born because of children. I'm constantly picking up my daughter. I'm always trying to hold her and put her on something, and I'm just like, I'm gonna cut that out for today. Like every Monday, I'm gonna give myself a break from holding my daughter so incessantly, consistently this way. And what I'm finding is that it frees up some time. It makes her more independent and less dependent on me holding her. And our brand space's owner, which is myself and Sage but I'm more, it creates that environment there that yes, I love you, but I also want you to be your own person. I can accept that maybe somebody wants to watch something, but only maybe cut down and replace with more things that are going to make what it is that is going to aid in flow intelligence. And then so when you put those things together and kind of put it in a pot and stir it, so to speak, and watch it stir, crazy. But when you do this, Suzanne, certain thoughts to manifest, because as an entrepreneur, I'm focused. I'm focused on how to scale my business and company, our Instagram, our YouTube. I'm focused. I'm laser focused in on how to make things better, and that's basically all that entrepreneur is. All an entrepreneur does, and I believe that is why it's considered so virtuous. Kim Jimenez is always speaking about how business and ownership and starting these businesses is really a virtuous spirit, and I really understood that now as of lately, as of getting older and growing, as you go out and about and you realize that everybody doesn't have that spirit. Everybody's spirit isn't always going to be able to kind of sort of reap and give off that same type of energy or frequency. You're just not going to be able to always find it. And that's something that was scary, but also something that was, and sometimes I was just saying this on our Instagram account too. Sometimes people do things out of fear. Some things really can cause us to be in our environments that we're in. And I don't always think that fear is a bad thing though. Sometimes I've learned that fear can really protect us and keep us safe from making mistakes so that we don't constantly always figure out how to do things that was something that we didn't even really need to know in the first place. And I'm doing just great. Thank you so much for asking. I hope you're doing well as well. And so I was just getting ready to touch on the point of having no hold Mondays. Having those no hold Mondays is kind of sort of having that same ability to be able to pinpoint that virtuousness and then be appreciative of it. Like have a moment where you're actually grateful for it, not trying to constantly keep getting more out of. That's what I've learned. I've learned that by having a no hold Mondays, I can say yes to being grateful for the things that I like. Hi, I'm doing okay. Thank you. I hope you're doing well. And I realized that that's a trait that entrepreneurs need to have. I realized that having an entrepreneur spirit is having points where you can understand that there is getting nothing else from this person. There is no other point at this actually having to kind of sort of want somebody else to do something for you. As a business owner, you have to lead. When you are so focused on leading, your presence is what is putting them on. Your presence puts them on so that you can scale, and by putting them on, they scale, but you do too, because you're drawing attention and it's a mutual beneficially done. Now that's what a true entrepreneurial spirit is. It's not about us keep getting more. And I think that's where we go wrong at most of the times. We become, greed has this point where we're not allowed to do anything else because we're so stuck on this one. And I don't always think that's something that's a positive and doesn't help us keep into what do we think of, as I said, optimal flow. That's just my own personal opinion. Nobody has to agree, but I'm not going to shy away from that either. I don't like shyness. I prefer courage. Everybody knows, y'all know that that's best. And so when it comes to making sure that we are really focused on having those spirits for no hold Mondays, I can easily just have said, oh, okay, I'll hold you all day long. But as an entrepreneur, you have to realize that people are coming for you. People are coming for your battles. It can start with your children. It can start with cousins, family members, and then most likely definitely it's going to be your family members as well. Now, okay, cool. And so, I know we have hard times, and that's why it's not many businesses. Many times people don't want to start businesses because it's hard. It takes quite a bit of work. Hold on. And I'm not saying that anything that's worth having is easy, because again, of course, that's going to be a big, 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 big COMPLETE thought as to no, we're not going to have something worthwhile come easy. That's going to just continuously defeat the purpose. And if you're all about having a victorious spirit and triumphant over the things that you find challenging, you understand why no is necessary. And that's something where we have to find comfort in. As an entrepreneur, as a leader, as a person who's looking to start their business, to scale their business, to find a way to launch a new product in their business, you're going to have to realize that you are not going to be able to enter into your flow by practicing modes of shyness. Oh, I just can't speak. I'm too scared. Oh, I'm shy. Like, no. If someone asks you a question, articulate. Raise your volume a little bit. Have some good lighting. I know our lighting suck and the ring light is broken. The other one is too. The other one's been left down at the office. It's been pinched in half. My girlfriend got me whatever is going on, and that's in the fire. So I'm sorry if the lighting is not necessarily A1. I did want to invest in some studio lighting. So trust what I say. I definitely have had my own moments, and I get it. And so you have to have moments in time as entrepreneurs as well to create your routines. As I was saying earlier, I've been realizing that some of the time we have those entities and they're just all the rage right now when it has to deal with your routines. And I am going to share that having a routine definitely has helped. Even just having the no hope Monday is a part of creating another routine. Having a new routine so that I can, okay, I'll keep that in mind for making that something that you all can do to have it in a different language. And so so this is point dos, okay? So point dos is for how you can build a routine that helps you maintain your flow and helps you kind of sort of scale what your goal is. So when you have a goal and something that's really making you desire and strive for a better place in your life. Let's say maybe you just got out of a relationship that's really bad. I've been seeing that that's something that's kind of sort of a hot topic as a GTT. I know we don't always have the best people in our lives or examples. I know we see the celebrity couples. I know myself, I've seen them, and you'd hold them as such an esteem, so to speak, as your example, and then all of a sudden the relationship just implodes. It's shocking. And so we find ourselves in situations where we don't even know how we got here. We don't even understand that this is something that we have to really look closely at, and not that we can do so to pinpoint or find fault, but to understand that it's okay to kind of sort of understand that this person is not necessarily who you thought that they were, and that you are wanting to enhance your life at this point in time. It's never too late to start. People always are going to make sure that we are able to kind of sort of make our lives better, which we are allowed to do, mind you. So don't let anybody think and manipulate you into believing that you wanting to better yourself is a bad thing, because it's just not. That's going to be an inaccuracy. And so when you have those routines in place, these issues actually, they're right, become easier. And what's easy is that a routine is less disturbed. It's more relaxation when you have a routine. When you have your routine in place, it's really nothing, no one, or And nothing, no one, and no outside force can readily cause what's taking place in your routine as a business owner, especially you, Suzanne. You know this is readily able to actually make you shake and deviate from what you know as your go-to. And your go-to is really where you can find those moments. And so routines are just like caviar. Caviar is really about how you can really taste the best of boo, and boo is just things that I like to do. It's something that's really tasty like caviar, and yet it's something that makes you more enhanced because you don't really just second guess it. You're always going to be able to just not really think of other things except your routine. So that so when people emphasize how they are conducting themselves through a routine, they're emphasizing what they are going to do within the next few days. It's almost like having a plan set out. Having a plan set out allows you to easily navigate your days. Having a routine in place allows you to have less of those moments where you're unsure, where you're not really aware of what this thought means. When you have a routine rely it, it necessarily, so to speak, it makes you more aware of your surroundings, what you need. There's a book that I found on here, and it talks about how there's a power in awareness. Thank you. And that's how you maintain your glow, your ability to enter into your flow. And when you are in those moments, it's because you took the time out to build your routines, to build your business, to build a home that's clean, that has warmth into it, and that our people are going to respect. And because if not, then you know that they're not welcome here. You can't enter into the same space and then see how it is and then choose to disrespect it. That's not appropriate. That's not proper. Hi. And so again, that comes from building habits, having a habit of cleaning, having a routine where you have certain order in place. Those are things that's hard won. Those are victories that are not easily able to be done. Those are not feats that are just readily widely done by everybody. And I don't think that that's a bad thing. As an entrepreneur, as a business owner, as a person who wishes your clients well, that's a great thing. That's how you enter into your flow. How that's something that people are going to learn is a positive trait. And I don't think nothing is wrong with that. I really think that's a great thing. I really think that's something that's positive. I think that's something that we need to learn how to practice more of. And as I'm beginning to get older and scale and figure out how to have better interactions with our audiences. Sometimes I don't know what I'm going to talk about, but if I watch a video and I have someone share some things and then I feel like maybe they missing something, I can add into that and build. I can add and help. I can add and let them know that there's an A. I can do those things in not just cafeteria age. Not everybody's always in cafeteria hanging out, but sometimes I'm not even in the cafeteria. Sometimes I'm fearful of the cafeteria. Sometimes I've been in places where I avoid the cafeteria altogether. I don't want to be bothered with the cafeteria people or lady. And people think I'm being mean or staying offish, but it's the fact that I have a fearful spirit that I want to have protected. It's like I can go in here, but I'm going to risk somebody doing something. And sometimes they did. And sometimes I have to learn that they're not going to scale their businesses by doing things this way. And that's where shyness is not going to help you. If I'm already fearful, and then I'm going to have shyness on top of that, no, I have to have that ability to overcome that and then express what I thought based off what was done in a courageous and positive way in order to scale my business. That's not easy, and it's not for everybody. And that's why sometimes it's best to avoid than to interact. And some of these places I never want to go back into. I'm not beating down the door to get back into. I'm not that type of entity. And some of the doors I can't get back into even if I wanted to. So you have to keep that in mind as well. You have to be mindful that these doors can be permanently closed forever. And it's scary, and that's why I say it is a form of fear. But sometimes fear can really put us in places so that we don't venture out into things that are bad for us. And so I don't want people to just think that fear is ultimately the root of something that's negative, because it is. Most of the time, fear is not good. It's really, that's really a true part of having a motive that is negative. But in their other instances, there are points, very rarely, that there are moments where they can keep you from doing something that you might later regret. So that's really the only point that I wanted you all to have. So habit building, thumbs up. Routines, thumbs up as well. Like no holding Mondays, which is something that I created because our brand space owner, which is myself and Tanisha Bill, more. If you're new, hi, I'm a writer. I own a few businesses where I just constantly do things that revolves around art. That's what our degrees are in. So if you ever see the AA and BA degrees, you know that I mean Associate of Arts and a Bachelor of Arts as well, where I am the alumni from Tri-C as well as Southern New Hampshire University. And I also have a little girl, I have a daughter as well, and our brand spaces owner, which is myself, and her Satasia's father, that is her name. And so we have those moments, and I have to constantly be able to build these things, and it's going to so when you actually understand that you can't always do every tiny little thing, you're going to say no. You're going to have those moments where no, I can't do this right now, and you're going to learn how to become comfortable. You're going to learn how to execute that with precision. and I know that's difficult most of the time for people to understand, but that's not your problem. You got to worry about not necessarily, and I don't want people to think that worry is something else that is a positive, because it's not. So please make sure that you steer clear of worry. But you have your own problems. You have enough of your own where when somebody doesn't understand you and you know that you're right, you have no time for that. You have to focus in on scaling your business, because it's a necessity at this point. And once things become necessities and you realize that people are trying to draw you away from your necessity of getting something done, they got to go. And they can look at you and say what they want to say, and you can have your own thoughts as well. And you have to learn that power as an entrepreneur to scale your business. And I hate to say people are not going to like that, but again, that's not your business. Your business is in scaling, helping, flowing, making people better, making yourself better, raising your children properly so that they can excel in the world that they're in, making your community better, making your social life in a proper attitude instead of being holed up somewhere else and being mad at somebody based off what they're doing. Thank you. Because that's really all that they're trying to do. And I know sometimes that's such a tough cookie. And it really is difficult to deal with. I get it, I understand, and I swear we can do it. It's really nothing else to it. Some things that we can do that help is routines as well, building habits, habit building. A routine could be church. I love to do church. I love to do some reading. About how to make sure that we enter into these modes of silence. This is what I'll enter into if I need some silence. And she's right. And I'll just simply pick the book up and just read off what it says. That's it. And I have moments where these have really helped. And I'll give you another point as well before we wrap this up, that if I'm ever teaching or having some moments where I'm sharing some thoughts, please believe that they have originated from somewhere else. Some of them might be original. GTTs may be something that people aren't aware of, that's considered something that I just totally did on my own. But please believe these are not to be taken lightly, okay? So I just really want that to be emphasized. I don't want nobody to feel like there's no good in exercising thoughts that are outside of ourselves, because when we do that, I kind of sort of am underneath the impression that's where we start to get into this isolation. That's why we start to be so isolated, and that's totally not how you build a routine. You can't, whatever you put your mind to, you can do it. Exactly. Whatever the human mind can conceive and believe, the human mind can achieve. Whatever you kind of sort of focus on and think of long enough, that is exactly where your thoughts manifest. And that's exactly how it goes. For an example, if I have some issues with somebody that's going on and I'm focused on how to protect it, eventually they leave. Eventually I manifest them no longer being in that spirit so that I can continuously show up in a certain way and manner. And that's exactly how it happens and unfolds every single time. It's never been a moment where I ever regretted or wanted to be them. It's never been that way. It's always been something where I was petrified. I was like, oh my God, this cannot be something that's happening. Like, I'm about to go off if this is something that's really happening. And when I realized that somebody was removed that was really wishing us some kind of whatever was going on at that point in time, and I didn't want it to happen, it didn't happen. And I always felt that was a really great tool to utilize, because you can't wish somebody else harm and then still expect to succeed. It doesn't work that way. It's really backwards. And of course, anything that's backwards is something else, and it's not something that's geared towards positivity, which again, in order to succeed, you cannot have a negative mental attitude towards anybody else. That's not the way that it goes. It's not the way that God works. And so I guess people choose to forget, and that's where they go wrong at every time, because memory is a power. And every single time that we think about everything that somebody did to us, it jars something within us that propels us to keep going and to scale our business. And I don't think people consider that enough. I think they allow themselves to settle. And when they start to settle, they start to have other little icky moments. And you can see them on the news channel, the story that's the most 9 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 10 o'clock. And it's the main breaking headline, you know. And it's the person that you've manifested to have more peace, or to have a more successful outcome, or a moment where you're like, oh, okay, they really cool. So how can I get closer to them and less to them? And you can only do those things by being clear about who you are, what your goals are, what you want to do in life, what you want to accomplish at the time frame, age you want to do it by. And only then can you scale and allow yourself to experience your happiness that people are going to want to keep from you. And that's not how you scale a business. And it's never going to be. And in truth be told, it never will be. Because you have to want to help yourself and help others, instead of selfishly or greedily or manipulatively trying to make sure that their lives are leveled down into a certain manner because yours is, or because you won't do what's best for you or your family or those around you or your community or your society. And what's even worse is that sometimes as entrepreneurs, you can notice that people aren't going to be gravitating towards you because they're going to allow themselves to live off certain things that are free. And it was the common human weakness, is to get something for nothing, for free. And that's not how you allow yourself to be a boss bitch or a boss babe, or enter into those eras where you're in this rich chick energy, because you living off of a free government assistance. And instead of scaling your business, you prefer to live off of it as though everything with that mindset and frame of mind is positive. And it's not, y'all. It's not. Okay, so come back. I'm going to jump back on again, and I will have some more things in store for you all. Those are my only bullet points. So just to reiterate, make sure you build your habits that are positive, your routine buildings, and keep your thoughts very, very positive. On those no hold Mondays, it can be no stress Mondays, no horror Mondays for horror movies. Maybe you want to laugh a little bit more. I know I've been on this laughing, kicking journey myself. It can be a no derogatory day, a no curse word Monday, however you want to call it. And then take that, manifest it, and watch your life improve and enhance based off your said optimal flow. Mark my words, and then we'll be back soon. I'm gonna try to live as often as I can. So just keep everything uplifted in a good manner, and you got this. Ain't nothing else to it but to do it.